Welcome to the very first ever Star Mini Gaming YouTube series narrative story time. Now, ordinarily I would have one of these, much like Matt from Mini Wargaming does, before even the first scenario, but as we weren't really sure exactly if we were going to begin creating a narrative campaign or just kind of play a one-off game, obviously we didn't do that beforehand because we only decided upon that the other day that we wanted to kind of continue the story. So in the first battle report that I ever put out, which will be before this in the playlist, we had my death forces facing against my friend Henry's mixture of Skaven and Khorne. And this took place in the Realm of Death, and the story behind it that we've created is that my Vampirus Lord, Sinessa is her name, she, like many other Death Lords in the Realm of Death, held a small subsection of the realm under her own, right? Of course, she was loyal to Nagash. She was, kind of like a governor, if you will, of a small subsection. She had been faithful under Nagash, and he kind of gifted her that subsegment of his kingdom. So with Nagash having fallen to chaos, and this is kind of taking place before Nagash has regained his power and has arisen to muster his armies, several of these different minor lords have kind of used that opportunity to try to gather power into themselves because they don't know whether or not Nagash is coming back, and Sinessa is no different. Her city was besieged by Khorne forces and their Skaven allies, and they were pushed to the brink of destruction. Well, a bold gambit that Arkan the Black had suggested was that they put some of their troops in ambush, and that they allow the Khorne forces and their Skaven allies to, of course, with overconfidence, shall we say, approach the city to crush Sinessa and the last of her forces. And she would spring an ambush, allowing her troops that were hidden on the other end of the portal that she had in her city, not a realm gate, just the portal of her own magical design, would come out whenever the enemy forces had overcommitted and crushed them. And as we saw in the first battle report, they were successful. They routed the Khorne and Skaven forces. Very few survived and managed to flee to tell the tale. Well, this particular Khornate Lord, who we are not going to name yet, mostly because we haven't yet come up with his final name, survived the battle, although wounded, and managed to retreat with some of his troops. And they did retreat to their nearby realm gate, into the realm of Aqshy, or the Realm of Fire, which, if you're familiar with the Age of Sigmar story, which, if you're subscribed to my channel, I'd hope you are to some degree because of all the narrative reviews I've put out, the Realm of Fire was largely controlled by Khorne before Sigmar sent his forces to begin to retake it. So at this point in the war, it's still largely controlled by Khornate forces. So they retreated back through the Realm Gate to the Realm of Fire, which is where this particular group of Khorne's Bloodbound had come from initially. And their Skaven allies go with them. They're kind of sworn in to serve them. Of course, the Skaven are not honorable. It's more of out of fear that they're serving these guys, but they come with them. And Sinessa begins to kind of gather her troops and marches after them. She's out to gain power for herself, like the other lords, as I mentioned before, and she sees this as the perfect opportunity to strike out into another realm and to take control of a realm gate solely for herself. And so that is where we begin this battle that you'll see in the second battle report, where her troops have come through the realm gate into the Realm of Fire, and they are preparing to take the fight to this Khornate Lord and his troops that have retreated and kind of regrouped with some of their reinforcements that have kind of destroyed this little village that you'll see on the board and have been holding out there, awaiting the return of either their lord or a message from their lord to come through and continue their conquest in the name of the Blood God. But let's get to that battle report and you'll see what happens there.